Peace, 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 peace. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Not gonna be before you very long, but what's too long? Okay. Anywho, let's give honor to the source. Let's give honor to the Creator, to the Most High. Let's give gratitude for where we are, where we're going, and man, even where you get somewhere, you still gotta learn something. Oh my gosh. I said it's gonna be brief, but we'll see. The journey, this journey of being a generational curse breaker, bro. Let me tell you something. Some may call it a healing journey, spiritual journey. You know, there's so many things you can call it. My experience is, let me tell you something. Just to get up, being a generational curse breaker is like just to get up and decide to do better, be better, to discipline yourself, to focus on your approach, to honor your emotions, to really focus on what serves you and what no longer serves you, to push-pull between letting go of things that don't serve you no more, to elevate mentally, emotionally, physically. That shit is a lot. These are the things that are not discussed when you're trying to reach said heights or go to different places. I forgot the gentleman's name where he said when you reach the top of one mountain, you're at the bottom of another one. So it's the consistency every day. Get this off. Is this one I own? Try to, my lips, bro, my lips. Oh, no wonder. Again, just the consistency of getting up and choosing. And this is why I had to really learn to give myself grace, because a lot of shit wasn't shown to me. A lot of things wasn't given to me on a silver platter. And this ain't looking for sympathy. This ain't looking for anything. I just learned to have more grace and empathy for myself and others. Sometimes I don't even know how I put up with my own shit, let alone people in the past put up with certain things. And you know, I've seen this thing trending where it's like people like, come healed, and come, I'm like, look, come healed. You mean, are you accepting of the fact of like I'm healing and we all are healing? Let me be the first to say, I don't care what type of beliefs you have, I respect them, but we all healing in different ways, in completely different ways, and it may not look the same. It's all perspective. Whether we are aware of it or not, but we're healing through something, whether we're trying to get through the day simply with peace. My experience is growing up from just being in environments that were conflict driven to where, you know, it took me almost 35 years to see the importance of just getting up and valuing a silent, not just so much of a silent home, but a peaceful environment, even when I wasn't enabling it. But it's what I'm getting at is like, again, like the journey of trying to be a generational curse breaker, when it seems like you got to be the life of the party. Sometimes you got to be, you got to really be so secure within yourself, and, you know, really deep self-acceptance, self-assurance, like daily self-improvement, and all while trying to enjoy your life, because everyone don't vibe like you. Everyone's not authentic or willing to be authentic. Some people just are willing to conform and be like other people, or want to be like what the world reflects, and, you know, continue to hide from their shadows or their fears and so forth. And eventually it all comes up. No one can run from said karma energetically. And so, you know, I'm getting more of a deeper understanding of how important it is to really be who you are, to really be yourself and honor that. And, you know, thank Source, thank the Most High we don't look like what we've been through. Shout out to all of you that are going through so many shifts and ever-changing moments right now that you don't discuss, that you hold in. You know, right now I feel like there's a lot going on to where you can't really tell who's a friend or a foe, because, you know, like, that's like on a personal level, but I feel like collectively, because so much we have hidden from ourselves, and we feel like we've hidden from the world and disguised it under a mask. But in reality, it's like, you know, you ask yourself, who's the real enemy? Is it yourself or is it someone else? So that's another thing that I've become aware of in accepting And being a generational curse breaker, it's also realizing like the things you find out that you don't like about other people can pretty much reflect your own internal insecurities, and more so your own internal war. And not everyone, I realize not everyone is willing to be at peace with what they're going through or be at peace with you. So it's so important to find peace within and not spread yourself thin pieces. And that's like this, oh man, I really want to share this ooh, I can't sit too long, I don't want to get stiff, but it was, that just reminded me of something I was writing about, like, you know, this analogy of like chess and the game of life, like people who know the importance of chess and how you know, certain moves or certain things that you make that affects everyone on the chessboard. And the reason why, like, again, I'm not gonna read, should I read it? You know what, I mean, hey, yeah, you know, I bring y'all into my world. I be giving y'all like exclusive stuff, but in reality, it's given to me. So who am I to say to keep credit for or take credit for anything when I'm just like a vessel? Yeah, I ain't gonna be before y'all long. I gotta get up because I get stiff in this car. Y'all give me one moment. I didn't even plan on doing this, but when my spirit calling, that boy got that journal. Get you one of these, man. This is so important. Like, a lot of this right here, this is what helped me through a lot of my journey. And it's funny that when you look at the word journal, it says almost journey. But it's so funny because it's almost like, how I look at things is almost like, this is my, you know, people who are into religion, it's like, when you look at your life, your journal is like your own Quran, your own Bible, your own sacred part of you. And when you actually share it, it's almost like you're sharing a part of Source, the creator. That's what makes us all unique. It's like, once we share, it amazes me how, like, when I look at the oneness of everything, but seeing how previously in the old way, the old world of things, is how we have put so much emphasis on said characters that they hold more value than humanity, than the individual itself. The individual is special. Don't get me wrong, like, the individual, whatever character people you believe in, but they do not have more, they're not more, you know, they don't have more value than you. That's what you need to remember. A lot of these books are to show you you. That could, you know, connect, like, beyond the fact of how that can represent a version of you. You know, can you put yourself there? Can you relate to it? Can you resonate? If not, let it fly. So that's the thing that, like, I feel like I'm here to recreate, reinvent, or like the idea around how certain, whether it's religious figures or just anyone in your life, that we hold to this higher standard rather than ourselves. Because in reality, we are not, a lot of us are not equipped to do exactly, and we're not supposed to do exactly what they did. We're here to do our own thing in our own unique way. That's what the individualism is so vital about that. That's what's so vital about who you are, what makes you unique in your own world. And so, you know, what is your legacy going to look like? What does your purpose look like outside of you trying to follow or look outside for an external source to live your own purpose? So, yeah, I just wanted to share that with y'all because, man, I like to bust bubbles. Did I write it in here or did I write it in my... Did I write it in here? I actually got it on my phone, but I'm recording. So you know what? I just give it my own way. Like, in reality, I'll just give it my own way. Basically, basically, like, the analogy that I was giving to, I was writing about, like, connecting how chess was like this grand scheme, or this game of life. And when I was speaking about, like, the said pieces, like, every piece on there is vital, whether it's the knights, whether it's, you know, the queen, king, everyone is vital. And those of you that are into chess, you know what I'm talking about. Every move is important. Then I was also representing, like, the opposition. Notice, like, when you typically see a chessboard is black and white. So for me, my perspective on it is like, it represents the feminine and masculine principles, the light and dark, Those of you that into Star Wars, my nerds, shout out to you. You know, I love stuff like that. You know, I love. And when I look at those movies and I relate it even to the chessboard or just the black and white aspect, the polarity of things is that it's like a duality. You got the dark and you got the light. And it's almost like the yin and yang aspect of ourselves. It's like the flesh aspect that we fight with, and then the spiritual aspect. But they're one and the same, but they all hold, they're both significant. So with that, when I was talking about the chess piece, the opposition, again, opposing energies or unseen spirits or spirits, you know, spiritual warfare. You know, those of you that are into deeper things when it comes to like, for you know, like this isn't a fight with flesh and blood, but spiritual wickedness and principalities in high and low places. So again, you know, the more aware we start to become, the deeper we become, and as the world transitions or shifts into more of a higher consciousness, some people may call it, you know, whatever you know, the dimension, you know, those of you out there that are on that level or that frequency. So again, the awareness around it is more so, as you deepen your awareness, then your awareness of other things will also heighten. The beauty of it is that I realize that for some of us is, you know, as in being a generational curse breaker, you also recognize, and this was going to go back to how I connect this to the chessboard. Ooh, I say a train, but I saw some beautiful, wow. I'm still focused. I just saw this beautiful artwork on the train. Just inspiring. So, going back to the chessboard and being a generational curse breaker, you know, opposition can be in your life, the family, people who are wanting to be comfortable in their darkness or their fears or their subconscious things. Those ancestors that did not want the highest good that came before you for the greater good of all. And so that is the opposition in your life. When, you know, people may call it the karmic family, people may call it karma, whatever it is, it plays out, because when you look at karma and dharma, it's also a representation of dark and light in a way, from my perspective. So it's like the things you get through individually, and this is what's so challenging and, you know, about being a generational curse breaker. It's like when you get up daily, you know, let's say you have a vision or a dream and the Most High is giving you something. And it's almost like the story of Joseph or whatever great person that came. They saw, it's not so much of the end or the finale, but they saw great things happening to them in their visions. But what they don't see all the time is the opposition or the integrity or the strength mentally, emotionally, physically, the battle that people don't see, that they also individually have to endure before they get to said rewards. It's also the integrity of like the seeds that you sow through that, the authenticity, you know, the opposition where people who want to support you, but you still have to stay 10 toes the fuck down. You still have to still stand on business, even when you don't know what's coming next. That's what people fear, is the unknown. And that's when I start to look at the chessboard, when I start to look at the pieces, I start to recognize, I'm like, okay, if I'm this piece on this chessboard, but I wasn't aware of my own said value or worth, then the opposition, you know, those that play chess, you know, it was easy for them to checkmate my ass. It was easy for them to jump, take the piece, you know, remove me off the said board, or wanting to X me out, remove me from my purpose, or trick me out of my position. And a lot of us are ordained, or you are ordained, or you have been given things that no one is supposed to understand and overstand but you and the Most High. So that being said, the beauty of all of this is, again, that analogy from the masterpiece, from the chessboard, is like, visualize yourself as whatever, like if you say you're a queen, king, or whatever piece on the board. Everyone out here, it's like when people don't realize the importance of chess, it's like some people are pawns out here. Some people are pawns and they don't even know it. And then the way they move, they don't even know it. And that's how the whole world, if you look at the grand scheme of things, is certain people are pawns, and when they don't know their worth or value, they are literally pawns to this great game of life. Once you know your value and you realize how significant you are, not just as an individual, but also as a person that is representing, whether you're a woman or a man, that patriarchal or matriarchal aspect. And also the importance of like the beauty that how far you come and you still being here. If you're able to see this message, you can know that you are not a pawn in someone else's game. I don't care about no elite. There is a cosmic elite. There is a divine elite. There is things that, again, beyond the trickery and the manipulation, no matter who's being used mentally, spiritually, emotionally, those that haven't come to this awareness or know their power or know, reconnecting to their essence will never know the importance of what it is to be chosen or selected, or seeing the awareness on how that, what they say, make your move, make your next move your best move. And we have been tricked in believing like whatever we do is going to mess up everything. And in reality, that's far from the truth. Because on a higher level, it's just energy. What you put out, you get back. So if you put out authenticity and integrity, don't be surprised if you're in a said relationship or in connection with people when you're surprised that they show you their shadow side, or you're surprised that they show you who they are. I mean, and still, who are we to judge or hold a cloud over their head or hold something over their head when we too have been, seen either as a hero or enemy? The importance is your value is that, are you at war with yourself, being that you're the enemy of yourself, or you at war with the world and you rather be at peace with the people outside of you? But that's the beauty of all of this. So going back to the chessboard and that analogy, when I was writing it and I was, giving this insight, it was showing me like, okay, if you were given this life and you were given this awareness like this, and this gradually has happened, of being in this lineage, okay, and as a generational curse breaker, okay, you are also given the things that come with that. And everything don't just come with, unicorns and fucking rainbows and all beautiful things. No, where there's rain, rest in power, Frankie Beverly and Mays, or was it Frankie Beverly? And when he said, where there's a flower, there's rain. So when I look at the chessboard and the polarity of things, where there's dark, there has to be light. Where there's a star, there has to be darkness. Where there's light, there has to be darkness. And it's all perspective. So when I look at the chessboard of life, it's like, okay, I'm this piece. And then you notice that even when you play on the chessboard, the black pieces have to be on the white just to be noticed. Did you hear what the fuck I said? The black pieces have to stand on the white to be noticed. So what is really like unnoticeable? The white pieces have to be on the black side so you can know and be aware. And as I gave this analogy and it was coming to me, I was also talking about me not being what I say in there. I was saying like how, how, those of you that grew up in the trenches, they be like, you played yourself. And it's like an oxymoron, if that's a term, or just funny or contradictory. It's like, did you really play yourself? Like you played yourself, but were you aware that you played yourself? So in there, I also wrote about how like I was clueless of playing myself, but now that I'm aware, that's what's so vital this time around. Is that's when you realize, like, as you move and as you become more aware, that every move is your best move. And even when you're not aware, consciously of certain things, and guess what? That don't mean you have to feel guilty or ashamed about it. And I'm not saying don't take accountability. That's where awareness comes in. Is that some of us have been moving throughout life with no fucking awareness. I had to be aware of that. I had to become aware of that. When I had to realize like every move that I was making, even when I was young, whether it was from my own belief system or the belief system of others, I wasn't moving with a more deeper and the sound awareness. I wasn't moving consciously. And then when you look at what you put out throughout the years, whether it was your beliefs or the beliefs of others, it still some way, somehow came back around full circle or found you or will. And so that's the thing where the beauty of it is like going back to the chess pieces. If you don't know that you're on the board, and some people aren't aware, they are literally pawns. But if you know the importance of how you move, when you're talking about said, like who protects the queen, you know, who protects, and the analogy around this is like all of that is not just the individual aspect, they are representations of you. I don't like to use the term kings and queens, but at the same moment, when I look at it from my perspective, the queen can be looked at as the feminine energy. The king can be looked at the masculine energy. The king can move, but only so like certain slots or places. The queen has the significance that can move, you know, wherever. And then correct me in the comments if I'm not saying this correctly, because that's just from what I kind of like looked into or whatever. And then you have the knights. You know, a lot of these pawns of certain people are just merely sacrifices, protection for the bigger picture. And again, when I look at how the old way or the old world is that when we were unaware, or like you said, like how people, well, what's happening now when people come into more conscious awareness of, or how the frequency or the, you know, things are rising. When people wasn't aware how they were moving, they didn't protect the queen, or let's say the divine feminine, which is rising. They wasn't protecting the matriarchal. Let's say that queen, let's replace that with the matriarchal aspect. Because when you look at the patriarchal, that represents what you call the king or the father, the dad. And when you hear these terms like Lord and all these other terms that I can go real deeper into. But again, the awareness around that, how it don't matter what piece is on there, their significance is about, you know, seeing like what move needs to be made, and the awareness around it, and the patience, because one move or this move could, you know, jeopardize or do something to affect all involved. And that's why I feel like, you know, even from learning from my own life, seeing how that has a ripple effect on everyone isn't aware about that, you know, isn't aware. So some people don't realize that they're an asset and they're a liability. And so a lot of you women, a lot of you don't realize that you're an asset. So you've been living as a liability and blaming other people. And you always say it's them, but never the accountability of like, you also played a role in creating the misery or creating that aspect. And the reason I say that is because I've been in relationships and certain things, or just anything, to where I realized like, whoa, who was I playing? What role was I playing on this chessboard of life? Am I able to see the opposing energy that is trying to trick me out of my position, or even when they try to come against me and they fail miserably or they fall short of glory, can I still be aware, no matter how it looks externally, no matter what my status is, or no matter how I'm perceived to the world? Can I manage, you know, can I be consistent? And this is the great part about it. It's like the peace, the inner peace, rather than focusing on the pieces on the chessboard. I became more aware, like, okay, my awareness around being this piece on this board is also the peace within me. So going back to, again, my ladies and women, and also men, I'm gonna include you in this too. It's like, when you know your value and worth, you'll realize how important it is how you've been moving. You know, you either, you know, you either been moving like a pawn, which is a liability to all involved, and basically like self-sabotaging behavior, self-sacrificing, and not knowing your worth. So that can be in relationships, partnerships, and so forth, even in the grand scheme of things on the global level and so forth. And the rise of the divine masculine and feminine is what's playing out when I look at the chessboard. It's almost like the opposition of life, you know, where things, when you've been a generational curse breaker, where people are literally put there as an opposition, or, you know, this opposing energy to see. And the beautiful thing about it is to see if you're going to be aware that, is this for my greater good, Or is this, am I gonna look at this as a way of staying stagnant and stuck? And it's all perspective. And what I mean by that is like, I can learn. Are you gonna be willing to learn from what you went through, transmute that energy or alchemize it into something greater? We all have an opportunity to do this daily. That's what a generational curse breaker is. I don't get up every day wanting to do the same shit or thinking that I gotta, I've seen people get up when I was younger, get up literally in the same energy, go to bed angry, get up and literally have the same energy, because it's like they almost are consumed by whatever entity or like spirit that they're like, spirit of anger, deceit. It's almost like they literally were consumed by this darkness and could not see the light within them. So they would get up, and it's like their daily task was to go the fuck out there and ruin someone's life or make them feel the way they feel, to just feel alive or feed off the energy. It's like an energy vampire. So again, once you're breaking generational chains and cycles and become more aware of your role, you will know your role on the said chessboard of life. You will get up with the intention, and it's a daily thing. It took me years to get here. It wasn't perfect. It's almost like I had to realize, like, I don't get up to be angry. I don't get up intentionally. I had to stay neutral and balanced. Yes, I go through emotions. Yes, I feel shit. Yes, I get angry. But the awareness around it's like, the thing about said healing journey is like the woundedness around it. Seeing how the belief system of other people, that's the opposing energy. That opposing energy can be that karmic family, that karmic mother, but also realizing that your ass was karmic too. I had to come to that self-awareness of like, and it ain't just karmic in a bad, negative way. It's more so the negative aspect is the karma itself in a where when you look at the chessboard, it's like the dark part, like the negative, as I told y'all, like polarity, negative and positive. It's almost like, okay, what you're putting out, why are you surprised what you get back if you're not willing to change it? Are you putting out things intentionally with, purity, love, honesty, and integrity? Or are you consumed by whatever's happening around you? Are you honoring the emotion? Are you aware? And so that's what I realized, that you will learn to decipher or discern who really are pawns, who really are consumed by news, who really are consumed by fear, things that has nothing to do with you, but are you aware? Can you see it? So again, I seen people used to get up with their intention of just being fucking angry, just being mad at the world because certain things are not going well. And this can happen in so many different ways, like even with people when they don't get money, when certain things are due, it can be a lot with that, to where they feel like nothing can get better. They feel like their life cannot get better, so they get caught up in, really the illusion. And so that's where the perspective, you got to counter those thoughts. A lot of generational things, again, opposing energy can be the way of how you have a renewed mind and you're fighting against mental warfare or mental illness, focusing more on your spiritual hygiene, focusing more on like self-love routine and so forth. Okay, the opposing energy from that, when you look at the chessboard of life, is recognizing those very things. And so when you get up and you're trying to strive to be better, you realize like, oh, I'm able to be aware that this is my opposition. Okay, what within myself am I opposing, or I'm opposed to, or my belief system on like, what do I need to change? What am I accepting that no longer serves me? What do I need to push away or just learn from? So again, just that whole, I wish I could have read it, but it happens the way it does. But it was, again, the awareness around like how once you come to this awareness, you realize those self-defeating energies will just fade away. You realize like it's checkmate, fucking checkmate. That's what checkmate is, when you come to the realization like, oh, it's been me. It's really been me. Who could I blame? Can I see my role? That's what checkmate is. That's what the victory is, when you start to realize like, okay, what type of season am I in? What am I doing? Am I really surprised that this relationship is going the way it is? Am I really surprised because I have to recognize what's happening within me? Am I really surprised that this happening? And in awareness of that, it's like that's where you give yourself a grace and the joy comes in again, and you start to reconnect with who you truly are, so you don't have to lie to you anymore. You can be honest with you. Then you recognize your role and your value. Same thing with men. It's like a lot of you don't even know that you're an asset, but you are. You're an asset no matter what your mom and father has told you. Same with women. All of you, we all are an asset. It's just we haven't seen it. We haven't been surrounded by it. We haven't been in a country or in environments where we are seen as an asset rather than a liability. You know, especially, you know, just been given this vessel, just being a man that's darker in a country where I've talked about how there's nothing, my opposing energy and what I have to experience, a lot of people will not relate to. And that's okay. But to bring you in my world, it's like being someone that's darker, again, the opposing energy will be the fact of how, for the last couple 100 years of how I've been looked at, you know, projections of being a liability because I'm just simply darker, because I'm simply, you know, and I ain't finna go down that little rabbit hole, but just, you know, how the energies at the time was trying to make people out, whether you're a darker, to be, you know, inhumane or, you know, undervalued or less devalued in every type of way. So my opposing energy, whether in my said family, where you don't have people who stand up and speak up about things, whether it's like abuse, verbal abuse, emotional abuse. So recognizing the generational curses is to recognize the opposing energy is like what is trying to come against you, what doesn't want you to rise above this occasion or rise above this. What can you do differently? Okay, in that, can you have integrity? Are you willing to be, for some people, what I've had to experience personally, are you willing to be without a home, but can you have faith that something greater will come? You know, can you have integrity? Then you'll meet someone with integrity. Can you be patient and, you know, you might didn't have this support, but then I may have someone, the universe may send someone with support, to sponsor, to pour into you. Or can you clear this energy, these blockages within yourself to be open? Because that opposing energy, you know, those things want to keep you in a place where you don't recognize your value, your role in the grand scheme of all this. That's what makes us all an asset. But everyone don't see themselves as an asset. And that's a thing that can be very dangerous, because when you're in certain things and people don't see their worth and value, they are a liability. And we once were a liability because of certain belief systems that we grew up with, whether it was our mother and fathers, where they only felt that they were only good for working. They only felt that they were only good for, let's be real, you know, tricking, fucking, you know, low vibrational things, whatever it is. They only felt they were good for certain things. And they never really saw the value beyond those things because they was just taught to do it, peer pressure, or just try to escape through it. And so, again, to avoid their facing themselves and looking in the mirror, you know, some of us are here now. And as we stand in our power and be reborn and love ourselves and start to do things that they did differently, they begin to be, you start to recognize the opposing energy, and then they start to see you as an opposing energy or opposition or the enemy. And the awareness is that, you know, it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. So a lot of people don't want to accept your world is changing. Their world is still the same. And some of them are just going to leave, you know, this world in the same energy, in that same opposing energy, that same stagnant and stuck energy, because they believe that. That's their belief system. So the game changes is once you realize you know your worth, and, you know, you don't no longer become clueless to the player, because you're player one, literally. You're, you know, as you play the game, you realize like you're playing it in a way of realizing like, it's almost like you know how the games you used to play, like you get more lives or whatever. And in reality, it's like the beauty of it is like, as you level up certain things in life, certain things will be given to you. You know, it's like the game of like Mario and all those other games we used to play. It's like, start to look at things like that. Start to realize like your value is more important spiritually. You know, your spiritual worth is more importantly how you just showing up in the world. Because that's the biggest trick right there. That's the biggest illusion, is people don't want to know who they are because they're afraid of being something that the world probably won't even accept or embrace over time. And if they do, it's for some people to be a little too late. Some people won't even be alive to see you to go through this. Some people will. And the beauty of it is, can you still be you? So know who you are no matter what's going on in the games people play. Do you know your role in whatever you're doing? And again, going back to the analogy of the chessboard, again, it's like, can you see the polarity in a lot of things? Can you see the beauty in what's unfolding from your life had you not went through those dark moments? Are you able to see the light? Are you able to be a guiding light for yourself and others? Because that's what you are. Take care of yourself. Peace and blessings. Shalom.